Hello. Today we're going to be talking about Suicide by Édouard Levé. Édouard Levé was born in Neuilly-sur-Seine, France, 1965, and died in Paris, France, in 2007. Studied business at ESSEC Business School in Paris, but he would later give up business as a career and became a self-taught painter, photographer, and writer. Aside from his writings, he's most well known for his conceptual photography. The two photography projects he's most known for is one where he goes to America and photographs various landmarks in towns that share the same name of very famous cities like Paris and Baghdad. Another piece he's most known for is one where he photographs various people in pornographic poses, but they're fully clothed to give some level of contrast. He was also a painter, supposedly, but he would later burn his own paintings and pursue writing instead. He's written four works, but Suicide is probably his most well known and most infamous. It was translated by Jan Stein and is told in the perspective of Levé, who learns of a close friend's suicide and begins to recount his friend's life. So the novel is told entirely in the second person perspective. And so the major pronoun being used is you. And of course, the you Levé is referring to is the friend who had committed suicide. What's striking about this novel is that after the manuscript was submitted to his publisher, Levé would commit suicide 10 days later. So effectively making the novel his own form of suicide note. He allegedly left an actual suicide note, but it has not been revealed to the public, which makes the second person perspective a lot more, makes the second person perspective an introspection that the author has about his own suicidal thoughts, because it reads like the author is speaking to himself, referring to himself as you. And you know that the narrator is the author, not just in the context of the story, but even outside of it. As he's writing this fictional narrative, he's also looking inside of himself, wondering how people might react to his death and how different things would be without him. What's most notable about the nature of the suicide presented in the story is that as the last message, he goes into the basement and leaves a comic book open to a particular page that he wants his wife to see. But after his wife discovers him already dead, she accidentally closes the comic book, effectively erasing the message that his friend was trying to tell her, which is Levé's way of saying that the intention of a suicide can never really be understood. Of course, there are various factors that may lead to someone considering it, but ultimately, the real cause of it will only be known by the person who does it. Every detail that LeVay recounts about this friend after his death seems to be so menial that it almost seems strange that he would recall these little details like this, which gives more credence to the idea that this is supposed to be his self-insert, so that he may imagine what people may remember about him after he's gone. Everything is told very impartially, without any poetic flourishes. It's just spoke straight on, fact after fact about his friend. I've read his other works too, for example, Auto Portrait, which was supposed to be LeVay's the autobiography. And you can see that it's a characteristic style that he has of writing, where every fact is just laid on top of each other, almost like he's just stating what comes to mind that he hasn't said yet. Really punches through the noise because in the story, the friend decides to do this. You're consciously searching for a reason or a motive of why this may have happened, and nothing really stands out to you when you dig into it. And I think that rings true maybe for LeVay too. You look at LeVay's life from the outside perspective, it seems like he had a decently normal life. In Auto Portrait, he describes the troubles he had with love and connections, but nothing as drastic as suicidal thoughts are made immediately clear. But again, this is simply impossible to know the true motive behind suicide. So the novel sort of remains for me as a reminder of this artist that is no longer with us.